Hey guys, let's talk Rolex, specifically the Rolex Air King line, a relatively uncommon line that most people don't think about when considering a Rolex, yet it actually offers a lot of history and value for money. I'm going to use this Rolex Air King Concentric dial, one of the quirkier models within this lineup, to go through the good, the bad, the ugly, and determine whether or not the Rolex Air King line is worth your money, and of course, your time. Let's do it. So I have here a Rolex reference 114210, the Rolex Air King Concentric dial variant. Probably the most non-Rolex looking Rolex out there. It is very quirky and I love it. The concentric dial is just gorgeous. The red, or rather orange, application of numerals, the steel engine turned bezel, all of these things kind of represent the Rolex Air King series well. These are a series of Rolex watches that people can't recognize 100 feet away like all the other Datejusts and Submariners out there. It's really cool. That's the reason I would buy a Rolex Air King, not because it's a cheaper model. Air Kings were actually produced all the way back in the 1940s. They were meant as pilot watches, hence the name Air King. And so actually it's a series with a lot of history behind it. No frills here, right? It's a pilot watch. No fancy gold-fluted bezel, no Cyclops date complication. It's just a really cool watch, and it's a really cool series. It just so happens that you can get these guys for a lot cheaper, especially vintage Air Kings. The modern Air King is a controversial one, and I have a picture of one here. I think a lot of people think this is, yet again, a Rolex that doesn't quite look like a Rolex, which is what makes Air Kings, I think, so unique and so special. It's not for everyone, and it's not a watch that you would think Rolex would make, and yet they make them. Here are some more conservative Rolex Air Kings of the past. This is kind of a precursor to the Explorer, and then, of course, another Rolex Air King with the similar engine-turned bezel as the one I have here. So Rolex Air Kings is just a series of Rolex watches that not many people know about, but, is a really cool way to get a Rolex watch on your wrist at a reasonable price. I personally never thought that I would want a Rolex. I just thought Rolex was too flashy, too in your face. In particular, the Datejust series with the gold and the Cyclops. And what really called out to me about the Rolex Air King is that it's kind of the best way you can play undercover Rolex. And those who know Rolex know about the Air King. And so I just think it's a really cool value proposition here. And if you're looking for a Rolex and you've kind of felt that Rolex watches were too flashy, then the Rolex Air King is something to consider, most certainly.